In this video, I'm going to be describing how to find the surface area and volume of a sphere. The surface area of a sphere can be found by using this formula, 4 times r squared times pi. So you might be thinking that, well, r squared times pi is one circle, so we're saying that the surface area of a sphere is just 4 circles. And that's pretty much true. You could think of just putting a circle on the top of a sphere, a circle on the bottom of the sphere, a circle on the left side, and a circle on the right side, and see if you can cover the entire surface area of the sphere. Well, because of the curvature, it doesn't quite work out so nicely. You have some parts of those circles that overlap, and you have other parts that have gaps in your surface area. And as it turns out, the overlap makes up for the gaps. And so it is indeed 4 circles that can cover the surface area of a sphere. If you want to find out how much more complicated that gets, you can follow this link and investigate some of those concepts on your own. To find the volume of a sphere, first we have to understand the surface area of a sphere. Once again, you could look at this YouTube link and they have some nice visuals to go along with this explanation, but what it basically boils down to is that a sphere can be made up of an infinite amount of pyramids. So if you have square or rectangular pyramids that where the bases are the surface area and the rest of the pyramid fills up the rest of the volume of the sphere, then the volume of a sphere is really very much related to the volume of a pyramid. And so here's kind of how it is. The volume of a sphere could be the volume of a pyramid times the number of pyramids that are used to fill up the sphere. Well, the volume of a pyramid, we've talked about in previous videos, that's the base area times the pyramid height divided by 3, or a third of the base area times the pyramid height. Well, the base area is covering the outside of your sphere, and if you multiply that by the number of pyramids to cover the surface area, then that gives you the surface area of the sphere. The height of each pyramid is actually just the radius of your sphere, or the radius of the circle. So this actually becomes a third of the surface area of the sphere, which is 4r squared times pi, times the radius of the circle. And when you put that all together, you now have 4/3 times r cubed times pi. So again, follow this link. I have some nice visuals to lay out this explanation. Let's do some examples. Given this sphere, let's find the surface area and the volume. Since we're given the diameter of the sphere, we want to find the radius. So let's cut that diameter in half. The radius is 17 meters. Plug that radius value into our surface area formula. We're going to square the radius. 17 squared times 4 is about 1,156 times pi. If we multiply that by our pi button on our calculator, then we can approximate it to be about 3,631.7 square meters. To find the volume, again, we just need the radius and plug it into our formula. This time we're going to cube the radius. If you ever have trouble remembering your formulas, they're very similar. The area is going to be a square radius and the volume is going to be a cube radius. So that may hopefully help you. So let's cube the radius, multiply by 4, and divide by 3. 17 cubed times 4 is about 19,652. If we divide that by 3 and then multiply by our pi button, then we get approximately 20,579.5 cubic meters for our volume. Let's try out an application. Let's think about the Earth. The Earth is nearly a sphere. We're going to call it a sphere so we can approximate it. The diameter of the Earth is approximately 7,917.5 miles. And there are a variety of other values that are very similar, depending on your resource. We're going to use that number. And we're going to approximate the surface area in miles and the volume in cubic miles. So if we know the diameter, we can cut that in half to find the radius. Our surface area and volume formulas need the radius. So let's square that radius and multiply by 4 to get the surface area, and then multiply using our pi button. When we do that, we get a very large number. We get about 196,936,410 square miles. And we could talk about that a little bit easier by just saying 196.9 million miles or square miles. And if you look that up on Google, that's pretty much what they give you. To find the volume, we're going to cube that radius, multiply by 4, divide by 3, and we get an even larger value. So large that our calculator gives it to us in scientific notation. If we take that number and multiply using our pi button, then we get about 260 trillion cubic miles. And you could write that number in scientific notation a little bit easier. So there you go. There's surface area and volume of a sphere. Good luck finding those values.